$260,000. Like, come on, that's just silly.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we are taking you on a journey to go look at vans. But first, I know that some of you are interested in gardening, so let's go on a little garden tour with Mel. And if you're not interested in gardening, you can just fast forward that part.
Well, hello. We're home for the summer. Why don't I show you what's going on in the garden this year? Starting here at our patio. This is a bit of an experiment. This is, we're growing pole beans and cucamelons. And my goal was to get this to grow all the way up this so that it would then create shade for the patio. As you can see, it's not totally working, but that's okay. That's what I love about our garden, is we experiment every year. But look at the cucamelons. They're great. They're tiny little cucumbers that kind of look like melons, and they taste like cucumbers, so they don't taste like melons. But I've just picked off a whole bunch of them, so that's why there aren't very many here yesterday. But then we've also got pole beans coming, so there's some tiny little beans in around here. Lots of flowers, so that's really cool. So that's kind of that area. We've also got potatoes, which are going to be harvested soon. When they start to die back like this, that means that they're almost ready to be harvested. And then we've also grown peppermint and lemongrass and some chamomile. And so those are making some lovely teas. And the peppermint we've actually also turned into ice cream and brownies, which is pretty darn tasty. And then up here on our second level here, I'm going to show you actually, we completely redid this upper hill. So you might remember a while back we built this retaining wall. I think we talked about that before. And then this hill was completely covered in plastic. And this year we ripped off all that plastic. We filled it in with proper garden soil. We've mulched it. And now look at this amazing display of plants behind me. It's so exciting to see how our yard is just transforming. And then we've got our garden boxes, as you can see. And we've been trying something where we rotate the crops between, like, different types of crops between the different boxes. And there's a certain order that you do that. So beans, will grow in a spot, and then after you've grown beans there, you can put something fruiting, for example. I think it's like I put tomatoes or something. And then after tomatoes have grown there, then the next year you can grow, I think, lettuces or something. And there's this whole system for rotating your crops and keeping your soil healthy. So that's what we've been trying to do. And so far it's been working for us. You can see the tomatoes. These are our grape tomatoes, and they're just starting to ripen, some of them. But the plant is just massive. And then these are our, some of the other tomatoes. These are called the thong, and they're gonna turn red and green stripy. And then these are another type. They're all heirloom varieties, and they're getting big and weighing the plant down like crazy. I'm not 100% sold on these ones. See, the bottoms are, I don't know what's happening there, but they're all huge. I've been trimming them back quite aggressively, and they just keep getting bigger. So I think they like this spot. Likewise, we're also growing corn for the first time. We've got that coming along.
So today we're on our way to Vancouver, about an hour-and-a-half drive to look at some vans. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to show you those vans, but we're going to tell you all about them in the car after we see them. The reason for that is because these are just people's vans. They still own them. They're still using them in a lot of cases, so it would be an obvious breach of privacy for us to be giving a tour of their vans. We've already actually looked at 3 vans so far, and, well, they didn't really meet our needs, to say the least. So we're feeling a lot more optimistic and a lot more hopeful about these ones. Now, another thing you should know, we're looking at 2 major different options. One is buying a van that someone has already built. The second option would be for us to buy just a blank cargo van and then build it ourselves, meaning hire someone to build it for us, because we're not really going to build it ourselves. We don't feel up to that.
We don't have the tools or the skill.
Exactly.
We're just going to put it that way. I know you can learn a lot on YouTube. Like, we've learned so many things with videos on YouTube. But really, like, that's such a big project that we're just not willing to take on.
It's a huge endeavor, and congrats to anyone who has built out their own van from scratch on their own.
100%. You rock.
Exactly, but we just don't think that we could do that. So those are our 2 options, and we're going to actually look at both today. We just got notified that a blank cargo van that we had been looking at but that wasn't ready to test drive yet is now ready. So we're going to check that out, as well as 2 vans in and around Vancouver that are both based on the ProMaster platform. Now that brings us to another really important consideration. What van platform do we want? So I really like the ProMaster platform, and that's because it is only 20 feet long, so it fits anywhere, and it's very boxy, so it's extremely efficient. You get a lot more interior space with the same external size in the ProMaster, so I just really like that. One downside is that we've heard it's a little bit underpowered because it has just a straight 6, I forget how many horsepower, but I'll put up those stats. We've heard it can be a little bit underpowered, which is not great for going through the mountains or up really big hills. Also, it is front-wheel drive, which means that maybe in sand or rough roads, you might have a little bit of an issue with traction. So the other van platform that we're really looking into is the Transit. And that apparently is just a very solid platform. And a big feature there is it's available in all-wheel drive, which gives you that extra traction in snow or on sand or gravel. Now, the negatives with the Transit platform is that the interior space is not nearly as wide. So you can't actually do a bed width-wise that I could actually sleep on without doing what's called a bump out, which you actually cut a hole in the side of the van and do what's called a flare that kind of sticks out a little bit. This weekend, we're going to go and look at some vans on the Transit platform as well.
So many vans to look at.
Yeah, right now we have between 4 to 6 vans to look at. So we are really into the thick of it now. Now, another van platform that I've failed to mention so far is sort of the OG van for van life. And that's the Mercedes platform, of course. It is actually available in 4-wheel drive if you want to go 2022 or earlier. From 2023 onwards, it's only available in all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. It also suffers from the same problem as the Transit, that the shape of it makes the interior space a little bit less than what the ProMaster is, and you can't really put a bed side to side that I would be able to lay in without using flares or bump outs. Another big factor with the Mercedes is that their maintenance costs are quite high, and the emission systems are quite prone to failure and very expensive to fix. So for mainly those reasons, I've kind of crossed that platform off my list. I mean, they look nice.
They're so sexy.
And they do have that 4-wheel drive option, which it can be really useful. I mean, you saw on the beach, we got stuck even with 4-wheel drive. So going to something that's only front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, we might have another video of us getting stuck in the future. I don't know. So quick update, unfortunately we're not going to be able to see that blank cargo van today. It's still getting detailed. But now we're on track to go and see our first van of the day, which is a ProMaster.
Okay, we've just finished looking at our first van of the day. DIY build, but it was actually a pretty smart build. They did a good job with it. I was pleasantly surprised. They've done the proper insulation. They've got a solar system, a 3,000 watt inverter, lithium ion batteries, sink, bathroom, toilet.
Yeah, fully enclosed shower, which, you don't see that a lot on a DIY.
So I think we will go and look at the next van for comparison's sake. The next one was professionally built out, not by the current owners, by a company out of Squamish. And so we're gonna go and see that one. So we've been to see van number 2, which was the professional build. What do you think?
It was really nice,
What?
I have to say.
What a difference a professional built one is compared to a DIY built one.
In this case, I mean, it's not always better, but in this case, yes, it was well done.
It was very well done. It was pretty. The only downside is it's an outdoor shower, which, hey, some of you would be like, Mel, that's awesome. And the toilet is not fully enclosed. And it's in the doorway.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the toilet placement, I have to be honest there.
We need to think about it, and we have 2 more vans that we want to look at. Not today. We're going to bring you back out again in a couple of days, although it'll be like right now for you. And we're going to go and take a look at a couple more, and then we'll kind of decide where to go from there. Anyways.
So we'll see you shortly.
Something that I really love with our garden is because we have the space, we experiment, like I mentioned earlier, every year. And so we'll try a whole bunch of different new things. So the corn is definitely one of those new things that we're trying this year. Also cranberries. There's one tiny little cranberry there. It's the first year for that, so I don't expect it will produce much. Another thing that's new for us is artichokes. And this plant looks a little sad right now. It's really leaning. But we've already harvested about 4 or 5 artichokes off of it and eaten them, and they're quite tasty. And then I've just read that the flowers on these can be quite beautiful. It looks like a giant purple thistle. So I was really curious to see what it looks like. And so I have left another 5 here to just bloom, basically, and we'll see what we get. I've also got a tiny watermelon starting. So that's really fun. Next to this gigantic bushy thing, these are called ground cherries, and they create these little kind of lanterns, and inside will grow a little fruit. And let me see if I can find one to show you. The leaves are so soft, they feel just like velvet. I absolutely love this plant. I was not expecting it to get this big, so I think it really likes this spot. But let me see if I can find one. See, so this is nice and kind of yellow and papery feeling, and so now I can pick that. And inside, if I can pick it off, there we go, is this orange fruit. And they're kind of sour and sweet at the same time, a little bit tart. I really like them. Jay's not a fan, but that's okay, just more for me. We've also got several types of herbs. So we're growing curry, which we actually haven't had a chance to try yet, but we're gonna mix that into some stuff. I've got purple sage here. And these are our pumpkins, and we grew pumpkins last year. Look at that, size of that thing. These are pie pumpkins. We're gonna make food with them, pies probably, but also curry. And last year when we grew them on the first hill. The soil wasn't very deep. We got 1 pumpkin, which was okay because that 1 pumpkin made 2 pies for us. This year, I put it up in this new area. The soil is nice and deep, super rich with nutrients. and I've already got 6 pumpkins. I've actually had to drastically cut back this plant because it was absolutely taking over the entire garden and starting to smother out some of these other things. Like, it was growing over into the sage, it was growing into the rose bushes, and covering up the catmint and stuff. So yeah, we've got these beautiful pumpkins that are starting to turn color in some places. I think there's a couple more. I hope you can see them back in there. And so that's new for us too. Also new for me to grow is peppers. I've tried growing them before and I've never had any success. One of my great friends started a whole ton of peppers from seed this winter, and she brought me some of her plants, and look at them. Look at the number of peppers here. Like, they're like peppers on steroids. So we've got lots of hot peppers over here in this plant. This plant is so weighed down, it keeps falling over. I've had to stake it multiple times, but we've got tons of peppers in there. These are another sweet type pepper. And you can see like how tall this is. Now, I mean, I know they're 2 feet off the ground already from the box, but still, they're like 3 feet tall. And then these are a giant pepper. They're gonna just keep getting bigger. And like, look at the size of that. Hang on. Look at the size of that. That is almost as long as my hand. I'm so excited. The nice thing that I've learned with peppers is you can pick them green and eat them. It's green pepper. The flavor will be milder, or if you let them ripen on the plant, then of course they get much more flavor or heat if they're a hot pepper. So I'm really excited about that because we have had to pick a few green ones because they were weighing the plants down too bad and falling over. But we just put them on our pizza. We do Friday night pizza where we make pizza from scratch, and it makes a great pizza topping. So that's our peppers. So also new for us is this really interesting variety of kale. And we call it dinosaur kale. It's got another like proper name. But it does look a little bit prehistoric, and it's been eaten a little bit, it looks like. But yeah, look at the size of these leaves. It makes the most beautiful sauteed greens, kale Caesar salad, whatever we want really. We have an entire row of this stuff. And every couple days, Jay just comes, picks a bunch, he gets out the pot, he blanches it and throws it in the freezer, and then we'll have it for winter or whenever we can find the time to eat it, because we have so much greens that we've been having large salads on a very regular basis, if not daily basis. And then we've also got 2 grapevines here, which is really fun. The grapes are coming along on this one anyways, really well.
And just like that, we're on the road again, this time heading in the opposite direction of Vancouver to Kelowna. That, of course, means that we have to go through a little place called Merritt, which, if you've ever watched our channel before, anytime we go through Merritt, we have to stop to get what? Bannock. So that's what we're going to do right now.
Don't panic, we've got bannock. We got some of our favorites. The Saskatoon berry. I love the original plain ones. Jay got a cinnamon sugar and a cheese one, which is still warm. We've never actually been here when they've still been warm, fresh from the oven or from the fryer. So that will be a delicious little treat.
Yum.
Kukuli Cafe. All right, my friends, we have been to see the first van. I can give you a tiny little peek. There you go. It is a Ford Transit all-wheel drive EcoBoost, and it was a DIY build. He did actually a pretty good job.
A really good job.
Yeah. The nickname for this van that we have is Carpet Van because it has carpet flooring, marine grade carpet, which was a relief to hear.
I mean, honestly, I didn't think I was going to like this one just looking at the pictures, which shows you, right? Reading an ad and looking at the pictures, you just never know until you actually see the van.
Yeah.
But walking into it and getting the tour,
Felt
yeah,
nice.
I feel like
Felt
this
airy.
this was a contender.
It's a contender.
For sure.
Yeah. The only downside, again, it's got the toilet and a bench that you flip up, and an outdoor shower, I mean. But I think we may just have to learn to compromise. I mean, let's be honest, we're camping. We're not staying in hotels, so we might need to make some compromises, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. We know we had the condo on wheels. Now we're looking for the cottage on wheels. All right, we have seen actually it's the last van of the day, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We've seen the last van of the day.
The second and the last.
It was a Transit, all-wheel drive, EcoBoost again, and DIY build. Some smart use of space for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice. However, it was clearly constructed as a one-person van because the walkway was just wide enough for me to get through and like no additional space. So I think as a couple's van,
It might be a little tight.
a little bit squished. But you know, it was tricked out really well. It was very well equipped for boondocking.
Oh yeah.
A lot of thought went into that. But for two people, I'm just not sure how it would work. Well, we're gonna have to give it some thought.
I'm sorry we can't show you all these vans.
You're just gonna have to use your imagination.
Hear what we have to say.
Yeah, but that's it for van shopping today. And yeah, we're gonna be thinking things over, and I'm really not sure if we have like a top contender that we would actually be ready to move forward on right now. I don't know. But we're gonna think about it, we're gonna talk about it, and we'll get back to you. You will be the first to know.
Maybe the second. I love the diversity of our yard. And we watched a documentary not long ago called The Biggest Little Farm. It's on Amazon Prime if you have it. And it was about this farm in California that they focused on diversification and putting plants that will help nourish their soil and attract all of the good bugs and bad bugs, but the good bugs that will eat the bad bugs, and all the other little critters and stuff that will create a balanced ecosystem. And it was such an interesting documentary, and it kind of made me realize that we do a little bit of that with our garden, because this year I've noticed a huge diversification in the bug life in our yard. I've found ladybugs for the very first time in our yard, in like more than just, one random one, like in numbers. Ladybugs. I found another type of beetle that had a horn, like I think it was like some kind of dung beetle or something. Aphids, of course, and they're annoying, and ants and stuff. But just so many different types of beetles and insects and hummingbirds and other pollinators, like so many different varieties of bees. I've seen bumblebees, honeybees, hoverbees, so many. And they love all these flowers and all the plants, all the different plants. So there's, I don't know if you can see these tiny yellow flowers. This is our rocket. And it's gone, we just let it go to seed because it attracts pollinators, and you can maybe see a couple pollinators coming around, but when it's in full flower, it's absolutely full of pollinators. Same with our nasturtiums. That's these guys, and these are edible. We do eat them. You can eat the flowers and the leaves, but they really attract hummingbirds. They absolutely love them. And so we'll see hummingbirds just, go right down the row all the way across to all the nasturtiums. It's really fun. Anyways, that is our garden. We absolutely love growing a certain amount of our food, and it saves us some pretty big money actually on our grocery bill. Oh, the other new thing one other new thing for us is asparagus. And if you've never seen asparagus before in the ground, this is what first year asparagus looks like. They look like tiny little trees. And this is our investment crop, because asparagus you plant from these roots and the crowns, and you can't actually have your first harvest until it's at least 3 years old. So we're actually not going to get to eat this until 2027, in which time it will just continue to grow and spread, hopefully. And in the spring we'll get proper asparagus shoots, and then you harvest a bunch of them, and then the rest just do this, and that's that. So that's our garden. What are you growing in your garden this year? Let us know in the comments. I would love to know. And if you have any tips or suggestions on what we should grow next year, or how we can improve some of our things, like maybe this sad and pathetic looking zucchini plant, although it is producing, but it's very sad. Let us know in the comments. But wait, don't leave yet. We just got back from Kelowna last night, and we got some messages from some friends who watch this channel and who've been looking out for vans for us. So thank you, Wade, Jackie, Eden, and Debbie, who told us about a rig at a dealership in Abbotsford that we might be interested in. So we're gonna go and check that out. It's at Woody's RV, and it's a Super B. So let's go see. And we might actually be able to get some photos and images for you, since it is at a dealership and it's not currently owned by anyone. How exciting.
All right, we had a look at 3 different Super B / Class C models, and they were okay. Mel is much bigger on that style than I am. I feel like it's just too big of a rig to be pulling around. But inside, I mean, there's a lot of space. It would basically be like having our trailer just on a van chassis.
But then that also brings to light the things about a trailer, right? We kind of realized as we were going through it is, oh yeah, the cupboards are made out of that thin, cheap, I don't even know what you call it, that, scuffs really easily. The toilet is whatever toilet, and now you have to have a black tank.
And the build quality, right? One of them already brand new, one of the doors
wouldn't close. Yeah, right. So there's all those little things that you remember. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to pass on that cross trail.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have been saying to us, oh, how can you go to a van? It's too small. You should really go to like a Class C and have enough room. I don't
really want to go that route.
I'm just not convinced. I want to be small and agile.
Yes.
And, I'm still very sold on the van concept.
If I could find a Super B that was really well made for the price we want to pay, this is why we're looking for a unicorn, that's also raised and all-wheel drive, hey, it would be great. And we came close with this, but not quite close enough. However, while we were here, we also found a van that, oh my gosh, guys, like...
It was pretty nice.
It was gorgeous. The exact layout we're looking for. The bed could have been a bit bigger, but it was like absolutely perfect. Right down to having solar already installed on the roof, like everything. The only downside is it's $100,000 more than our budget.
Well, no, it's even more than 100.
Okay, it's $150,000 more than our budget.
Yeah, like our budget, honestly, we can't see spending much more than 100 grand, which even saying that to me is insane. Like that's too much to begin with. But this was list price $260,000. Like, come on.
In some states or provinces or small towns, you can buy a house for that price. Just for comparison's sake, like we have,
That's just silly.
Yeah. Would you spend that much on a van? Tell us in the comments. We need to know, are we just being completely unrealistic in our expectations here? Let us know in the comments. You might notice Benny's belly has been shaved, and that's because he had to have an ultrasound this year because some of his blood work came back not perfect, and so the vet wanted to ultrasound him, and he might have intestinal, like IBS. So we are switching his diet, and we are putting him on omega-3 fatty acids and probiotics to get his gut healthy again. Right? Yeah. But he's still living the best life. His best life. Oh yes, okay, let's go. Oh, nope, another fall. Okay. Here's your good boy. He still loves to come out. All right, let's go in. Come on. Let's go in. Come on. Benny, come. No, not over there. Come on. Benny, come. Come on. Come on. Oh, no back chat. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you. I know you're not happy about it, but thank you. Good boy. All right, let's go in. Good boy. Of course, our garden isn't all food. This is our perennial bed at the side of the house, although thyme is mixed in with it. We've got 5 varieties of thyme, but for the most part, it's grasses and echinacea and coreopsis. And in the spring, we get really massive foxglove along the back there, and and some salvia. There's the last bloom of salvia, I think, that we're gonna get this season. But yeah, trying to grow this up a little bit. The thyme, lots of thyme. It's really beautiful, smells nice, and it's filling in. There's a little bit of ground cover to just soften the harshness of the stone wall. We're also considering what we can put to climb along that fence to help soften the chain link fence. It was recommended to us that we could use a type of clematis with white flowers. I've completely forgotten the name, but it's apparently quite a fast grower. And the other thing I love about our backyard at this time of the year is our new hammock by Animaka. And I honestly come out here probably every couple days, lay down, let Benny explore the yard, and I end up falling asleep. And that's probably what I'm going to do right now, is just have a little nap. We'll see you later.
Do you have anything to say about that? No. Okay. With no extra width, length, I don't know how you say that.
All right, so we are... No. Make sure you don't miss the next video by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications.
Oh, and don't forget to check out our website and sign up for our weekly email blast.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.